This is a continuation for Tac0 admin for 23 August 2025. So this is going to be the banned list. These are people who need to be kept as far away from me as possible because they have caused me immense harm and it is not something which is constructive or useful to the project. So bizarrely enough, with all the things I've said, Amanda Mazzoni and Frank Sashini are not on the banned list. Okay? With all the trouble that they've caused me, I keep them on because to me, roasting them is just too much fun. And to be honest, they give me a lot to roast. I grew up in sort of like an anarcho-communist community for a little bit, and have always been around left-wing ideas. I grew up in a conservative religious community, then moved to that, and now, kind of have very sophisticated ideas about these things. Like, I'm not anti-business, but the corporate culture that these guys kind of promote and oppose the children for are it just gives me cackles all the time. So we're keeping them. They're not on the banned list. They're too much fun to roast. But who is on the banned list are people who are really interested in causing harm for the sake of harm, or are just causing significant suffering to others. There needs to be a banned list, despite the fact that this is kind of like WWE, where we have these big personalities and we need to have dramas and these things. There still needs, there are limits. And actual sadism and acts which keep me in poverty and those kinds of things, and criminal behaviours are not things that are tolerated within the overall project. So, first on that list is Michael Armstrong, who runs a cult in Canberra. He's a Machiavellian motherfucker. His background is in cyber warfare. I knew him because he was my jiu-jitsu coach for a period of time and he was doing interesting stuff with veterans' mental health. He grew up in a cult, he manufactured a cult, and he's been trying to own and dominate me. He's a very, very dodgy person. He's done a lot of these things to address his own emotional needs, and because I got a lot of connections through his network, he believes that I owe him something. He's repeatedly violated a restraining order that he put on me because he was trying to pin me so he could dominate and control me. Keep this fucker away from the project at all costs. I've made it very clear that if he doesn't let up and if he doesn't stop trying to control and dominate me, I'll kill him. And that's self-defense and me trying to have my freedom. It's not me acting in a way which is uncivil or unjust. So that's Michael. Next is Donald Macaskill. Donald Macaskill is a criminal and a con man. He's a fake positive behaviour support practitioner, and he is not a healthcare professional of any kind. He got where he was in his career by just being more obnoxious, domineering and aggressive than anyone around him. He just has this thing of bullying people. He had 2 staff walkouts at his workplace, which is Butterfish Services. When I worked for him, I realised that we were basically providing a service which was not at a level where we could really sell it as positive behaviour support. And just remember that when you start a job, when you're going into the job, there's a point where you're gaining capacity, where you're not sure if, and at that time, some of the service that you provide might be a little bit mediocre, but you're being supervised and you're being trained, and as a result you're able to then provide a good service. What I realized is that no one in his organization was at a high enough level to be able to actually provide that service and provide that training. When I realized how shit it was, I tried to leave because I realized that I might be actually involved in a con, because I'm a decent bloke. But at this point, after you begin working with someone like that, you're then kind of stuck. And I tried to actually leave the job and for a different job in the first week that I started there because I thought it was a little bit sus. But he was connected. The person I went with the job interview for, I think may have called him or something. It's all really terrible. He's a horrific individual. He's tried very hard to get back at me for leaving his workplace. He wanted me to be his star employee so bad because I was just, I don't know, the brightest person there, I guess. And also, I think overall he spent more money in wages than we made in profit from the project, from his investment into Canberra. Instead of taking responsibility for his failure as a businessman, because he is a failure of a businessman, he's a failure of a behavior therapist, he took it out on me and he tried to alienate me from the industry. I was very honest about these things when I moved on to Get Scared Kids. Donald Macaskill, criminal, con man, bad overall person, complete narcissist, and I think he may also be autistic. But as a person who's also on the spectrum, that's no excuse for the way he's behaved. And keep this fucker as far away from me online as possible. We need to have a moderation team who's tracking these people to make sure they fuck off. So that's number 2. Number 3 is my sister, Lynette McQuaker. And also anyone from my family, with the exception of Christine East. What's going on with that? Actually, I'll take a step back. My cousins on the Sizer side, my cousins are allowed to participate, but no one from Generation X or baby boomers in my family, with the exception of Christine East. And I'm expecting her to understand that she's dealing with a lot of shitty family politics in this situation, and if possible, I'd prefer her just to ignore them when it came to me. So Lynette McQuaker is my sister. She's an occupational therapist. She's been practicing for a little bit, and put plainly, I just overshadowed her in her career. Our family has a pecking order, and as a community, they are incredibly arrogant people. So arrogant. Like, some people might think I'm a little bit cocky or a little bit brash sometimes. Dude, I'm mellow compared to what I used to be. And if you met my family, you'd know where I come from. And she's an arrogant bitch. And put plainly, I got up to a whole lot of interesting things in Canberra, and she didn't believe it, and she decided I was insane. So she put me in an insane asylum, and then she tricked me into going, because she told me I was going to get medication there because I ran out of antidepressants and couldn't function because I was just overwhelmed with trauma. And she tried to convince them that I had bipolar. And because there was this, we have in our family, we have an uncle who was diagnosed with bipolar, and this was an opportunity for his wife to basically turn him into a henpecked husband. And Lynette is a single mother. I am kind of the male figure in our family, and she wanted to drag me back to Toowoomba to help raise her kid and engage in our family life. But I realized that I come from a group of crazy fundamentalist Christians with an autistic family which is not able to acknowledge their autistic traits, and the family culture which is associated with that. So she gave false testimony to the psychiatrist. I think she manufactured a journal entry, because there was a manufactured journal entry which was placed in a court, because I had to prove my sanity to a court, and I won. Total bitch of a woman. I don't want anything good to happen to her, and I want her barred from the project and kept as far away from me as possible. And the worst thing is that because she's now done a horrific thing, she needs to be able to save face and maintain dignity in the family. So of course she's lying about it and trying to keep things in check there. So keep Lynette McQuaker as far away from me as possible. Finally, with the exception of Gordon Ryan, John Danaher, and the people I know from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and martial arts in Toowoomba, no one in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community, with the exception of also Jocko Willink, is to participate in the project. The reason why is that there's a gang mentality within the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community. There's this overlap in that community similar to bikie gangs, where you'll have people who are interested in the art because it's a lot of fun, it's interesting, but you'll also have just really strange and sadistic people and a lot of very juvenile behavior. There's very famously this guy called Eddie Cummings, who was a physicist and also part of the Danaher Death Squad. And yeah, no, he quit because I think he's doing finance now, because he realized he wasted his life, and a large amount of the community is just shit eaters and these egocentric children. And I don't want much to do with a large amount of that community. So, yeah, that's the banned list. Have a lovely day, everyone. I'm going to make some more videos describing my situation, and yeah, cheers.